Thank you so much to the organizers for this opportunity to speak about our company today. And also thank you for staying for the last talk of the afternoon. So as it was mentioned, I'm from Be the Match BioTherapies. So without Be the Match, our parent organization, I'm just going to bring you back into our history a little bit and how we're formed as an organization. So over the course of the last 30 years, we've managed over 80,000 stem cell transplants. That's all over the world. Every year, we manage 6,400 annual stem cell transplants where we're matching donors, moving the cellular material anywhere in the world that it needs to go after it's collected from the donor. And we also have over 19 million people on our registry, which makes it the world's largest registry for sourcing unrelated stem cell donors for transplant. Additionally, we have 250 research studies that are currently underway with our research partners. We're 900 employees strong, based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and $400 million in annual revenue. So I'm just going to bring you into our experience a little bit, and I show this picture just to orient you into what our day looks like and why we do what we do. This is a picture of a recipient and a donor together. So this is the donor, Lieutenant Segundo, and the patient, Kyle. And so I bring this to your attention just to show how our experience in managing bone marrow transplant has allowed us this ability to produce a core set of capabilities that we're now extending into the commercial market. And so that's who we are really as Be the Match BioTherapies. So we're extending those core capabilities built as a part of our parent organization into the commercial marketplace. So in order to do that, one of the things I want to bring you through is a pathway to transplant. So over here on the left side, this is where we start the process when any patient is in need of a bone marrow transplant or a stem cell transplant. And then once this is determined, the HLA type is determined of the patient who will be receiving the stem cell transplant. Once this is completed, we search our registry of those 19 million donors for a potential match. And so this is done by looking at the HLA typing of the patient and the donor. And then after a search in our registry will pull up a certain number of matches. Hopefully one will be a perfect match for the stem cell transplant. That's when the donor workup begins, and so there's additional testing that the donor undergoes after this process in order to ensure that they're going to be a great fit for the patient. In a parallel pathway, a patient preparation will begin in order for the transplant to be continued. Once everything is done here in the workup stage, the donor patient cells are collected. And so this marks the initial point of which the collection to the transportation to receiving the therapy, we move these cells anywhere in the world within 40 hours once they're collected from the patient, or from the donor, excuse me. And then the patient is finally receiving that therapy in this step. And immediately following that is when we start our follow-up and data collection for outcomes and anything related to that. So as you can see across this whole process, which is all managed through the National Marrow Donor Program, or Be the Match, we've developed several core capabilities which are aligned down here, including our immunogenetics and bioinformatic expertise if we start here at the HLA typing and anything available from our registry information, as well as the ability to identify and source these donors. And another key element of bringing this whole process through from start to finish is this personalized case or patient management, as we call it, where it's important to understand that although technology is an important part, and that's why it underscores our entire process of the process, it's also important to remember that with personalized involved therapies, there are nuances that need to be managed. And so in doing allogeneic stem cell transplant for many years, we've also developed capabilities that translate well into the autologous world too. So I'll speak about that in a little bit. So who is Be the Match BioTherapies? As I said, we're a part of, and we are a wholly owned subsidiary of the National Marrow Donor Program, or Be the Match. We were formed in order to commercialize capabilities that were developed, again, by facilitating 80,000 cell therapies. And we're focused on helping and engaging our clients, our potential clients, in developing and delivering more solutions for cell and gene therapy, and truly sticking to our mission of delivering and saving more lives through cellular therapy. So just a brief update of where we came from. So we were formed in January of 2016, just about a year and a half ago. Just the next month, we began working with our first client and providing allosourced allogeneic cell sourcing for them. In 2016 to 2017, we've also added additional other clients within allogeneic cell sourcing, autologous supply chain research services, and CRO services as well. And in the beginning of May, we also announced a public collaboration with Magenta Therapeutics. And so who are we and our value proposition and what we provide? We are allowing our experience within stem cell transplant to reduce the execution risk for our clients. We're taking on this step of being able to manage that risk for them. We're taking advantage of proven solutions with demonstrated high satisfaction experience with the same stakeholders, meaning within our network of partners within apheresis centers, we've developed very strong relationships that we're happy to be able to utilize and propel forward with other cellular therapies. Additionally, we want to establish this desire. We have a desire and vision for ongoing innovation, rigor, and operating efficiency, is making that a more efficient process for our clients. And we're also putting in a large ongoing investment in technology. As I mentioned before, technology is a critical piece of getting these cellular therapies to commercialization, and we realize that. So we're continuing to invest in this as well. So at this time, we have sort of bucketed, if you will, our core capabilities and solutions into these 4 areas. So as I mentioned, our first client that we signed was for allogeneic cell sourcing. So utilizing our registry and HLA typing, we're able to provide fully consented cells for research, clinical, and commercial use, and both rare and common HLA types. Additionally, we have an end-to-end cell therapy supply chain delivery capability, which can be utilized both in an allogeneic and autologous sense. And again, just taking into account the challenges that happen with getting the patient to the apheresis center for collection of the material, to the manufacturing site, and then back again to have those cells reinfused into the patient is a very nuanced process depending on the patient themselves. And so we're able to take advantage of our experience in doing that with allogeneic stem cell transplant and move that into an autologous sense as well. Additionally, we have access to retrospective data and research support through our research partners and can provide full CRO services that are rooted in our expertise in stem cell transplant. And finally, this 4th capability, our cell therapy outcomes registry and repository. We've been collecting outcomes and information on our donors and patients post-transplant for many years. And so we've developed this capability to be able to collect data as well as samples on those patients who go through cellular therapy. And finally, on this slide, I just want to show exactly how these services that I spoke about fit into the discovery through follow-up stages of development of a therapeutic product. As you can see, cell sourcing applying anywhere from the discovery all the way through to commercialization. And then the cell therapy outcomes registry and repository can be very helpful for clients who are both looking for identification of targets as well as potential market data. And with preclinical and clinical with our clinical trials research and support and our network partners who are able to help with clinical trial design and recruitment. And then also with the cell therapy supply chain delivery component, again, that end-to-end solution being for preclinical and clinical all the way through to commercialization. And finally, with this follow-up piece, being able to collect the necessary data that any regulatory authority might request that is collected on a cell therapy patient. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention.